Hey guys, this is Mark Goldberg with another exciting episode for you today of Mark Vlogs Watches. In fact, this particular episode is dirty, foul, disgusting, nasty, vinyl, vicious, and it explains a lot about what could be potentially happening in the gray market and in the world of Rolex. The lid is about to be blown off of this one, but before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this fishy stew, let's go ahead and check out the quick fist watch check. And here it is. Today, guys, I am wearing a really interesting watch. It's a brand you hardly know anything about. It's called Loom Tech. Stay tuned to the end of this video because when I'm done blabbing about the what's happening with Rolex here in the Chicago area and worldwide, I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to give you a little bit better look at this watch. You're going to want to see it. I have never seen a loom like this in my life. No wonder they call it Loom Tech. Also, quick, before we jump in, please like this video. And about 74% of you watch my videos often and don't subscribe. For you people, today only, it's free. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Guys, I have an article. I think I could do that better. Guys, I have an article. Oops. Hold on. Last chance. Guys, I have an article. Okay, let's go with that one. Now, for legal reasons, I am going to avoid saying the name of the authorized dealer in question, but it is one that I know. They have units or stores here in the Chicagoland area, and after I tell you what's going on with these people, I'll tell you the story of when I was in one of their locations in suburban Chicago just about a week ago, and I'll tell you what happened. It was kind of interesting. First, I'm going to drop a screenshot right off of my iPhone so that you can look up this article for yourself and get all the dirty, nasty details and save me the legal trouble of having to say allegedly if I'm mentioning the name of the AD.
Remember, guys, these are just allegations made in a civil suit. Nothing has been proven yet. No criminal charges have been filed at this time.
But here's the essence of the thing. The AD is being sued by an employee who is claiming or a former employee who is claiming whistleblower status. So let me explain what this is not. This is not like a criminal trial of the authorized dealer for doing anything illegal. This is not a criminal offense. I mean, criminal offenses are alleged, but this lawsuit is not the state of Illinois or any municipality prosecuting the authorized dealer for illegalities. Instead, this is a terminated employee claiming whistleblower status and saying that she was required as part of her job duties to engage in illegal activities, and when she refused, she was terminated. At least that's how I read the article. It's all alleged, guys, which is why I don't really want to mention names. But the names are in the newspapers and in the news. You can look it up easily yourself. And I know this authorized distributor, as I have been in more than one of their stores. And like I said, in a little bit, I'll tell you the story of the last time I was in AD, and it was very recently. The headline. It's nasty. Breaking news. Major Rolex A.D. accused of racketeering and selling directly to the gray market. So I'm going to just read you a few lines of this, but I urge you to read the entire story yourself. And when you do, bear in mind, this is a lawsuit. These are allegations, and the truth of the matter will eventually be determined by the court, but that has not happened yet. So, what we have here is a lawsuit initiated. We have accusations. We do not have yet a finding of guilt, innocence, or anything like that yet. A lawsuit popped up in Chicago. Krajisnik versus insert name of Rolex A.D. here. A former Rolex A.D. employee is directly accusing one of Chicago's oldest jewelers and Rolex authorized dealer for, quote, terminating her employment in retaliation for whistleblowing, this is where it gets really juicy, and refusing to engage in flagrant illegal activity and engaging in racketeering. I mean, these are strong words, and this is a very, very strong accusation. Doesn't mean the evidence is there. I'm just saying these are harsh words and harsh accusations. The plaintiff is accusing this major authorized dealer of selling watches directly into the gray market, not limited to Rolex, also, as you might have guessed, Patek Philippe. The allegations made are just about as juicy as it gets, and it puts the spotlight on the terrible practice of authorized dealers directly selling popular watch models right into the gray market. This is a 50-page detailed complaint, according to the news report, and it has been submitted to the District Court for the Northern District of Illinois Eastern Division by a team of lawyers. So this is serious stuff, guys. The news report goes on to sort of summarize the complaint in the lawsuit, and it says more or less that employees referred to as whistleblowers, so apparently there's more than one involved in this lawsuit, uncovered a scheme of illegal activity. They discovered that the scheme was being perpetrated by a coworker and multiple management level employees, including the CEO. That's according to the report, not according to Goldberg. The complaint continues that the heart of the scheme was a conspiracy by the defendants to illegally sell Rolex watches to foreign gray market resellers in order to enrich themselves. And the defendants violated numerous federal and state laws, including but not limited to racketeering, money laundering, mail, wire, immigration, and credit card fraud, and Illinois sales tax evasion. Wow. Guys, I know that this story is going to be all over the internet either now or in seconds because it's incredibly juicy. What it seems to do is it seems to validate what we have always wondered and thought. Are certain ADs selling out the back door into the gray market? Apparently, this lawsuit says yes, and the employee or employees who were terminated as a result of refusal and have brought this whistleblowing complaint and are suing the AD for damages, well, these guys are going to testify. This is fascinating stuff. Now, guys, we cannot paint every AD with the same brush. You know, I think it's quite clear. I think we've always known this. So I think what the interesting part about this article is not so much that we're hearing that an AD might have done such a thing, but that the lid is being pulled off the pot. The balloon is being popped. Someone is going to squeal. That's right. Snitches get stitches, or in this case, they may get damages, liquidated damages for wrongful termination. And isn't that delightful? Because the reality is all legitimate authorized dealers, ADs who abide appropriately by the law and by their authorized distribution contract with Rolex, they don't like this. It tarnishes the entire industry, and it's not their fault. I think that this is the case of a few bad apples spoiling the entire barrel. So the big question is, do you believe it? Well, I find it believable, but I don't want to make specific allegations because I have no firsthand knowledge. And not only that, I haven't read the lawsuit. I do urge you to read this news report, but bear in mind, a judge and or a jury will determine the outcome of this one. But boy, we will have to stand by and watch. Now, everybody in the Chicagoland area knows this AD. It is not my AD, but it is a well-known AD with multiple locations. Now, I was at one of their locations probably 6 or 8 months ago. I popped in. I don't really remember. Oh, I know. I was wearing just, like a Seiko diver. And before I go on with this, remember, guys, I have told you there's only 3 kinds of people that will notice your watch. 1, another watch nerd like you and me. We notice people's watches. Number 2, people who steal watches. People who specialize in stealing expensive watches. They will case your wrist, just to see if you are wearing anything worth, knocking you over the head and stealing. And the 3rd kind of person who takes note of your watch are people who sell them, especially at the AD. So probably 6 or 8 months ago, I had popped into this AD because I was just in the business location where they maintain their premises. And there was almost nothing in the case. And although I want to say that staff behind the counter were polite to me, and they weren't rude, they were not very engaging either. They really didn't ask me any questions. They did greet me. They did keep an eye on me as I looked over what there was behind the counter, which was very, very little. And in fact, I drew the conclusion from that particular experience that the premises was kind of small, and that was incorrect, but there are like a number of back rooms of this place, like it's sort of like a little bit of a maze, and after the front room there are additional display room areas, and I didn't notice that because staff was not particularly warm and welcoming to me. I kind of felt like I was bothering them by looking at empty Rolex cases, and so I didn't really explore the whole AD. again, they didn't do anything wrong per se, but I just wasn't really welcomed. Until a week ago, I went in wearing my gold Rolex Submariner. And I did that because I knew I would be once again in the general vicinity of the AD. I didn't really figure they were going to have anything, but I thought, let me wear the gold sub and just see if the treatment varies. Oh boy. Yes, it did. So guys, if you have a really expensive watch and you want to go visit an AD, wear it because they will notice. And immediately they engaged me, they smiled, they talked, but then, a couple minutes later, they said, that is a magnificent, watch that you have. Let me show you what we have here in the way of Rolex. And there wasn't a lot, but they did have a couple of gold day dates, beautiful things. And when I mentioned that, that wasn't really what I was looking for, they said, well, follow me. And then they took me through like an open doorway that I should have noticed the last time I was in there. But, I got the cold shoulder, guys, so I wasn't really looking around. I kind of slunk out of there. I was probably dressed then and, both times similar to now, which is to say, dog trainer clothes, nothing, nothing expensive. But they brought me into the rest of the AD where, holy cow, the Rolex is in the front, but behind that, they had a lot of countertops with a lot of beautiful watch brands from Omega to Patek Philippe. And they had a good half dozen beautiful, complicated Patek Philippes laid out in the Patek Philippe countertop. And they really wanted me to try those watches on. They were pricing them for me and asking me if I would like to try on a Patek Philippe. Now, I actually didn't want to do that. Why? Because I knew I wasn't in the market for a Patek, and I just didn't feel like it would be very polite for me to sort of make them pull all these watches out and then have to carefully, degrease them to put them away. But like I said, they were a lot nicer the second time. However, the allegations have come out that this chain, all the way from the bottom to the top, is breaking a whole lot of laws. I mean, racketeering is a very serious charge that could result in very serious criminal complaints, and the consequences could be really, really bad. I also wonder if the various watch brands involved will maintain their relationships. These guys are very sensitive to authorized dealers following the letter of the contract, and these contracts do not permit such activities. Now, I'm going to conclude on this before I turn the camera around and show you the Loom Tech watch quickly. Here's my conclusion. Many of us have wondered if Rolex has been taking sufficient steps to watchdog their authorized dealers, because they have to know, they just have to know that some of these ADs are doing this. Has Rolex turned a blind eye? Is this such an, if these guys are adjudicated guilty, will criminal charges follow? And will Rolex have to take steps to remove the authorized distributorship from this company? That would be a devastating blow to them. So I don't know what to think. I guess time will tell. Thank you for joining me. Do remember to like and subscribe. And let's turn the camera around right now, and we're going to take a look at Loom Tech. But tell me in the comments, do you believe this nonsense? Let's not name names, guys. I don't want you to get sued. I don't want to get sued. Let's just wait and see this shakes out. So if you know the name of the authorized distributor, and if you look it up, in the link that I provided you, certainly you will. I'm going to withhold any comment that mentions their name. Okay, guys, let's take a look at this incredible Loom Tech watch. Okay, guys, I'm happy to present to you a brand that you may not really be all that familiar with. It's called Loom Tech, as you can see there. And their claim to fame is the strength and power of the loom. It's super luminova, including the dial, which I believe is sapphire capped. But nonetheless, what they've done is an incredible number of coats. I think it's like 8-9 coats. I can tell you this sucker outglows any Seiko that I've ever had, way outglows Rolex. Loom it up with a UV light, and it's going to glow like that literally all night. 8 hours later, I can still read it. It's absolutely incredible. Its retail price is $795, which I think is a terrific deal. It has an ETA regulated to COSC specs movement. And the clasp also is one of those ratcheting, clasps so that you can make micro adjustments on the fly. And I absolutely love that. Another thing that I find really interesting here, it's all brushed except for these little triangular cutouts into the center links. And in the light, those just catch little sparklies on the side there. The only thing that I might like to see different is if they would taper, you know, from wider to maybe a couple millimeters worth of a taper right here. I think that that would be nice. The bezel is a bit stiff, a little stiffer than I like, but I assume that it will kind of loosen up with time. But the clicking action is impeccable. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, guys, I'll do a fuller review on this watch later. But just be aware, there's a new brand in town, kids, called Loom Tech. Once again, guys, please like this video, subscribe. This is Goldberg. Peace out.
Paint the sky your favorite color.